So, Andrew, tell me a little bit about what you do. You sound like you have an incredible, amazing life.
Yeah. Well, I spent almost a decade in special forces. That's the Army Special Forces. And in that role, I was exposed to a lot of blasts, and I had a lot of minor blows to my head, which kind of led to why we're having this conversation today with the book and our film, Quiet Explosions. But here's the thing, Sammy, without a visible wound on my body, I was forced to be medically retired from the Army. And that's after seeing a number of specialized doctors who put me on a multitude of medications. And I was then labeled with a laundry list of mood and neurocognitive disorders and just a whole bunch of other disorders and disabilities. So here's what the takeaway was for me after experiencing all of this. It was the delay in my symptoms that led to my injury being misdiagnosed. That misdiagnosis resulted in a care plan that did not properly assess or improve the health of my brain. Matter of fact, it just made my life tremendously worse than that of my family. So that was kind of the downward spiral, if you will, that allowed us to hit rock bottom to start looking for alternative, ways of healing.
Wow, that's incredible. First of all, thank you for your service. I have nothing but amazing respect for the military. So I think you're an incredible man. And what made you decide to want to do this Quiet Explosions movie?
It purely happenstance. When I got to a point where I just wasn't going to accept the fate that I was told I was going to have with this, new life sentence with my head injuries, I made the decision that I was going to get better. And I made the decision that I was going to return to the man of my pre-injury status. And I was going to find a way to come off all the medication they told me I needed to be on for the rest of my life. And I didn't care what I had to do to accomplish those things. Those were non-negotiable. And once they were accomplished, I was going to turn around and I was going to devote the rest of my life to helping others who were in the same position that I was in, very difficult position. So when we were able to find solutions that basically allowed me to have a full recovery, we spent the rest of our time looking for how can we bring that to other people. And so then that was putting that into a book called Tales from the Blast Factory, which our director got a hold of, and she got an early version of the manuscript. It says this needs to be a documentary film. We've got to tell the story. So that's just, how that kind of evolved over time.
And what would you say was the biggest challenge about making this movie?
Well, we did it. It was the director and my, basically idea and our baby, and it was independently funded, an indie documentary that if it wasn't for her, if it wasn't for me, everybody that you see on that film has some direct relationship with either Jerry Shear or myself. So we brought in all the cast of characters, all the incredible brain scientists and physicians, all of the individuals that were, being highlighted as having that problem. We raised all the money to do it. And we then went out and find a way to, get a distribution deal and get a distributor. So it's just, coming up with the idea like, hey, we're going to do this no matter what, and we're not going to let anything get in our way, whether it's money, whether it's people, whether it's having an all-star cast, whether it's having Academy Award winners contribute to the film, like all those things happen. So I don't know if the biggest problem, we just had a mindset we were going to get it done. And because that was the deal, that's how we got it happen.
Yeah, you do have really great people involved in this. How did you meet up with them?
Jerry Shear is acclaimed in her own right, so two-time Emmy Award-winning director. So she brought a lot to the table. And so when we could kind of combine that with our story, like, listen, we're going to inform the public not only about the problems of brain injuries and some of the downfalls of brain health, we're going to show actually evidence-based, science-backed solutions by the very best. So because we kind of had relationships in both those domains, we didn't have to, it wasn't a hard stretch to get people on board to support that.
That's incredible. And what would you say was the most rewarding part about making this for you?
You know, for me, Sammy, it's, if you guys watch the film, you're going to see people on there that our foundation, you know, had a direct hand in getting this life-saving treatment to, and you're going to see a human being being returned to life, being returned to their family, returned to their community, and back doing life on their terms. What I really makes my heart sing is knowing that we're going to be able to, that's going to be replicated many, many, many times over, that this movie is going to provide answers, it's going to provide hope, and it's going to provide healing to so many who need it and thought that there's no hope for me.
That's incredible. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge supporter of the military. I've known people personally that have had injuries, and I think what you're doing is incredible. Now, would you ever think of maybe going on tour and talking to people that were in the military about this and how they can get this kind of help?
Yeah, absolutely. Myself and one of the doctors that's featured in the film, Dr. Marr, who's the medical director of our nonprofit foundation, we've actually been doing that since about 2016 together. So we've been to many military bases, both in the United States and the United Kingdom, and we're going to continue to spread this message.
That's wonderful. And I think it really needs to be, because I don't think a lot of people are aware of this. Now, would you maybe think about taking it a step further and talking to people about the effects of post-traumatic stress or anything like that as well, and how they can get help for that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the film goes and it talks about that specifically, but we found that there's direct effects. So what oftentimes we're calling a psychological injury is rooted in a physical trauma. It elicits basically the same response in the brain, and that's the alteration of the chemistry of the brain. When that happens, now we see all these negative side effects. So what our work has shown definitively is, if we can take an individual who has suffered or suffers from post-traumatic stress, identify a couple of things via their brain biomarkers, so blood test, we can find out what's going on in the brain in real time, and then we can make a specific personalized treatment protocol to address that. So what I'm saying is we've helped many people who thought they just had post-traumatic stress and it was a variation of a physical injury. We treat the physical injury, their post-traumatic stress improves, and that's highlighted again in the film.
Wow, wow, wow. And why is it called, I've seen it called post-traumatic stress disorder and post-traumatic stress. Please, what is the correct term for it?
No, I don't have a problem. Like some people are, very particular. I don't have a problem with either one. The reason that I think many people in the community say post-traumatic stress is we feel that it's not a disorder, it's a condition, and therefore it's a condition that can be improved upon.
Thank you for explaining that, because I've heard, like I said, I've heard it both ways, and I just want to make sure people are aware to use it properly.
Yeah, I don't know if there's, one correct way or not, but hey, we all don't know things. So if you're not exposed to a certain world, like, I don't think we should get upset about something. If there's a time to inform and educate, hey, what's the difference? Like you just did, Sammy, I really appreciate that. It's like, oh yeah, well, listen, like, I don't have it. I'm not a disorder. You know what I mean? I have a condition, and I'm going to get on the other side of it. So I appreciate you giving me space for that.
Oh, no problem. And what are you working on next? Are you going to be doing more documentaries? Are you going to go back into the military? What's your plan for after this?
We're going to continue to fill in the gap for our military and our veterans, and we're working on advancing and influencing medical policy. So what you're going to see in the film, we want to be the standard of care for head injuries in the military, within the VA, and we feel if we can win that fight, so to speak, that can trickle down to the civil sector, and this will change forever how we identify and treat head injuries, because it needs to be on a personal level and not a impersonal level.
Wonderful. And do you have a website or anything where people can find out more about this, or maybe help you out?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go see about what we've been up to. The film will do a lot of that, but our website is WAF, that's for Warrior Angels Foundation, TBI.org. That's WAFTBI.org. You can find out all the information on what the work we've been doing the last 5 years, the science, the evidence, the lives changed. You can get to the film, Quiet Explosions. And if you feel moved to support our mission, then you can contribute there as well.
Okay, wonderful. I definitely plan on giving you as much support as possible because it's now that I know more about this, it's going to be an organization that's dear and near to my heart. So I would love to help you out.
Thank you, Sammy. Really grateful for the opportunity.
No problem. One thing I like to ask people I interview, especially now because this was such a heavy interview, tell me a fun fact about yourself that might surprise people.
Fun fact is I am married to the love of my life, and we have 7 children ranging from the ages of 20 all the way down to twins that are 2.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. I bet they love their daddy. I bet you're such an inspiration to them.
Yeah. So on the terms of on the platform of fun, like there's 7 times 100 there at our house. So it's always a circus at the Marr house, but that's all we know. So we love it.
Nice. So are any of your kids in the military or planning to go in the military?
Our oldest 3 are girls, and nobody there has identified wanting to follow in those footsteps. My 2 older boys are 7 and 6, and they very much want to be a Green Beret, just like Dad was.
Like I said, they have a great, great role model in you. So I bet they're going to be, once that time comes, they're going to do just as well as you.
Yeah, absolutely. The best thing you can do is just be there and support each child's, individual uniqueness in their own way. And so that's very fulfilling as a parent. So I'm just blessed to be in that position like so many others.
Thank you. And one more thing I like to ask people to make the interview a little lighter. We're a TV site too. What are you watching these days? I mean, most of us now are going to be watching Quiet Explosions, but what are you watching?
I laugh, and the reason I hesitate is at this stage in my life, I don't watch a whole lot outside of kids' realms movies. So up to date on all the different animations and whatnot. But we're such a fast-paced family. We watch a movie together on Friday night and sometimes on Saturday night, usually a family-themed or animation type thing. We just watched the Adam Sandler Halloween. It was Hubie Halloween. And that just made the whole family just crack up hysterically. So we really enjoyed that one as a family.
That is wonderful. And I did not check that one out. Even though Halloween's over, I'll check it out anyway.
I thought it was the funniest. I thought it was the funniest Halloween themed movie that we'd ever seen. So, we love Adam Sandler over at my house.
I love him too. How can you not love Adam Sandler? He's incredible. Great. And thank you so much for taking the time today. And once again, thank you for your service. And Quiet Explosions can be found where?
Yep, quietexplosions.com or on our website, waftbi.org. And it's streaming on Amazon and Vimeo, but you can get it through those 2 sites.
Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
All right, Sammy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.